So the current Rein Diva Rush meta. You got Rein, Diva, obviously, Kree, uh, Kree, um, May, Lucio, and Bap. Uh, and the first thing I need to say is this does not at all play like Rein Zarya Rush. And if you try to run the Diva like a Zarya, you're gonna have a real rough time. Uh, Before we get into that, let's just talk about all these one at a time. So Rein, the first thing to note is that Rein's playstyle has changed dramatically from how it used to be. Your shield has gotten weaker, the things that break shields have gotten stronger, you move faster while holding shield, and you swing for more damage than you used to. All of these things add up to a very different playstyle than Rein used to have. You are no longer a shield bot. You can't just stand there holding shield to soak up whatever spam is coming through while your team shoots. Your shield is now for very specific things that you need to make choices on. So, your shield exists to get you personally, Reinhardt, into and out of the fight. Gets you in so you can swing, gets you out while you're still alive so you can get healed up to push back in again. It is also to block important cooldowns, such as like nade or sleep, or to block ultimates that you can block, or to enable a hero on your team to accomplish something that they wouldn't be able to do safely otherwise. So, like, if you want to let your Kree duel a Widow at range, then maybe you hold shield for your Kree and let him take that duel, because he can't without it. But the important thing is you have chosen to do this for your Kree. Yeah? Because if you just sit there soaking up spam, then your shield breaks or gets weak, and then you're trying to push in with a weak or broken shield, and you just can't do it. Diva, as stated earlier, you are not Zarya. You cannot play like Zarya. Uh, Zarya does more damage than Diva, and Zarya Bubble is better than DM. It cleanses things like Nade, it blocks more kinds of damage, and it powers up your Zarya to make her stronger. The reason you choose the Diva over the Zarya is Diva just does straight up does more. Her DM can be used way more frequently than Bubble. So even though it's more limited than Bubble, like for certain types of peel, you can just peel way more often. She has way more mobility, which makes it easier for her to get to eye grounds and off angles, peel for teammates, occasionally chase kills, although that's not a primary part of your job. Uh, Diva has to off angle to take pressure off of your Reinhardt. So your Rein, their Rein, Zarya might be right here. Well, eh, let's just say like Diva, you're like right here instead. So you are shooting this Rein in the side, so he can either be looking at your Rein or looking at you. He can't really deal with both at the same time unless he walks backwards to make this angle comparatively a single angle. Like, it just gets narrower relatively as you go further, yeah? So, you doing this on Diva takes so much pressure off of your Reinhardt. It forces all these other people on the other team to have to choose where they look or back up to somewhere else. You have to be doing this on Diva. If you aren't, your poor Reinhardt is going to be going through hell. Uh, Diva, you want to, by default, you position on a high ground off angle, kind of near your Rein, where you can shoot the enemy from the side or from a different angle than your team. And from that angle, you should be able to see the enemy team and your team. so you can see everything that's going on. Diva needs shit tons of information to make good choices. So positioning in places where you can see everything that's going on is really important. And because the reason you choose Diva over the Zarya, even though Zarya does way more damage and bubbles a little bit better, is Diva can multitask in ways that just mean insane more value. So your multitasking here is you're on this off angle pressuring while looking around and scouting, and then you use your boosters to peel whoever you need to peel. Somebody, uh, your Kree's on another off angle and somebody dives your Kree, you go peel your Kree, and then you're right back to your off angle pressuring for your Rein. Uh, you use your mobility to get to where you're needed, and then you reset to high ground off angles and provide pressure. That's just like your baseline is providing pressure as much as you can. Okay, Kree. Uh, you also need to off angle for the exact same reason Diva does. You need to draw pressure away from the core of your team. Uh, you can use flash and fan and etc. to like go on flanks and get behind them and maybe get backline picks, or you can just choose a different high ground for your Diva to poke at range, or some combination of the two. Whatever you feel safe doing, but you also need to be taking pressure off the front line by splitting their attention. If you get kills, great, but if you don't, you need to get two people to turn to look at you or die for their arrogance, or the whole team to back up to avoid everything. Like, those are the three good options. And if they're doing none of those, your flank isn't really getting anything. May, you need you are one of the only DPS that ever plays with Reinhardt, and you need to be right fucking behind him. When Rein starts Wing and swinging, you are holding M1 into whoever he's swinging on, because it slows them down. You're not even necessarily trying to get the freeze, it's the slow, because that means Rein stays on them swinging, in addition to your additional damage. And like, your additional damage means like if Rein's swinging on a squishy, it's now 2 swings instead of 3 because you've made up the difference. So the two of you together, oh, it's terrifying, especially if when you guys push in while this Kree is splitting attention and while this Diva is splitting attention. So they're looking in 3 different directions. And that's the timing aspect of this that can be really hard in ranked, but can be accomplished by any one person. By that I mean, if you're this Reinhardt and you see your Kree starting to take a flank, or your Kree starting to push in and like do damage on this flank, that's your go signal to go in. You just coordinate with him since he's not coordinating with you. Alright. Whee! And then, Lucio. Lucio, you hang out, with Rein and May. But because you have an AoE, you don't actually have to be on top of them. You can be off to the side somewhere and just have them in your aura. So you can also be pressuring an off angle while still speeding them, or peeling for people who need it while still speeding them if they're close enough. So keep the spam up constantly. Just non-stop shooting. Shoot tanks and shields. It adds up, and you can't miss. If you have a squishy that you can hit, then by all means do it, but like, just never stop shooting. Pressure constantly. Be up on walls. You need to be high up so you can see everything that's going on. You can still have people in your aura pretty high up on a wall, and then you can drop onto whoever you need to frag or save somebody. And finally, the last play that you're looking to make. So when whatever go signal comes and Rein starts pressing W, you amp speed and ride past them on a wall or around something if you can. So you're coming back towards your team, so either past them in 180 or around so you're coming back towards your team, and you boop somebody into your Rein. Almost doesn't matter who, you just boop them into your team as you are waking your way back to them. So now you're safe, you're doing your thing, and you just got somebody on the other team killed. Especially if they have a Lucio trying to back up, they can just kite your amp speed. But if you boop somebody in, then they die anyway. This is a really good play for you to make. But basically, once you amp speed and get your tanks in, that is your time to go split and make a play. You could go frag on the back line, you could go peel for somebody, you could go for this boot play, whatever. But this is when you can split from them. And finally, BAP, you are also off-angling, right? Wild. You need to be really close to these two. It's not a big off-angle, it's a very small one. Because you need to hard pocket your Rein Mei, and you need to pocket your D.Va, who is going to be taking a lot more damage than a Zarya would, because she has to hold these positions and she has to draw aggro. So BAP, you have to watch your D.Va. You have to keep her up as well as your Rein. That said, you don't really give a fuck about your Kree. Sorry, buddy, you live and die by your own sword. If BAP can heal you, or Lucio can peel, or D.Va can peel, they'll try. But you need to play to live yourself as much as you can, because they got other shit to do. BAP, use your boots to get up to a high ground, so you're just like shooting above them onto people. Or, let me just erase all this because it's getting messy. Enemy team, your team, you. You are still mostly behind, but you're slightly to the side. This means you can see your team to heal them, and you can see the enemy team to shoot them. And since you're seeing all, you can choose which you want to do. And if you want to get the, like, shoot, nade, or shoot, shoot, nade, shoot, whatever pattern you're using, swapping between heals and damage is going to be real easy. It's a very narrow angle that you have to change, but it's still enough that they're split and you can see them separately. Also, because you're still basically behind your team, they have to run past the core of your team to get to you, or still go on a long-ass flank to try to get to you, and you can always just drop right back down to them. So that's the positioning you're looking for on BAP. And this is creating even more off-angle pressure. And so, as 6, you're looking to walk in, and then split in different directions. So your Rein Mei core has the support of the BAP, who's also taking focus, has the support of the Lucio, who's also taking focus, has the support of the D.Va, who's also taking focus, and they're also trying to deal with a fucking Kree flanking on them. Or, just standing up on a high ground where they can't get to them, just laying damage into them. Like, it is so insanely hard to deal with. And again, you can make this shit work in ranked. All you have to do is watch what your team is doing and coordinate with them. If they go left, you go right. They go this way, you go that way. You watch for their engage, and then you engage at the same time. So it's not that, like, we have this, fucking Kree on our BAP in the back line and this D.Va over here, and then Rein walks in. It's the enemy front line starts fighting your front line, and the second they're swinging on each other, suddenly they don't have any heals because their BAP just turned around to look at the Kree. Like, the second the swinging started, suddenly their healers turned away from them. That's what you're going for, and that you can totally coordinate one-sided. Doesn't matter if your team, like, has good timing or not, or is even trying, you can do this. So, I brought up this map of Hanamura. I guess I'm going to, like... Oh, no, we aren't still on the Gold Ash. I didn't change it. Whatever. This is just a meta guide. Uh, okay. So I'm gonna do just sort of like, I guess, a mock battle? Or maybe I'll just like show some positions and rotations. I think that's a little bit better. So, as one example, if we are defending Hanamura, or blue team were defending, I would put Rein here or here. Uh, this corner is safer and is better if you don't have speed advantage. By which I mean both teams have a Lucio, neither team has a Lucio, or they have a Lucio and you don't. You can't hold this close. If they have speed advantage, they'll wreck you. Um, but if you have speed advantage, you can hold here for early damage with an aim to back up with speed if you need to. Yeah? And like holding here can kind of help stuff them in this choke sometimes. So choose your own adventure. Let's, you know what? Let's do this the safe way. Let's say your Rein is here on this corner. I would put Diva up here on this high ground because Diva can hold this window. In addition, Diva is shooting through the choke this way, which is basically 45 degrees from your Reinhardt. Up here with the Diva, I would probably put Kree. I would hide Mei here or in here, at least for the first engage, because you're looking to wall somebody off when they walk through. Um, oh, so the Sigma can hold up there as well? Yeah. Basically, your off tank wants to hold this high ground here, usually. Um, so let's say you put your Mei here. Lucio, you're here hanging out with Rein. And Bap, I would put you up here hugging this thing. You have other options too. You could be up on here. You could be with these guys. You could be over here. Whatever. But I like this spot. So let's put you there for now. You can use this wall by just backing up. You can use this wall to completely break LOS of the choke and this window. So you can be completely safe here so long as the enemy team is still on this side. And you can always, drop off the back, wherever. And from here, you're above your Diva, so it's easier to heal your Diva than if you were a low ground trying to hit that arcing projectile, in addition to healing your Rein, and you're shooting straight through the choke. Your Kree's shooting through the choke. Diva's shooting through the choke. Lucio is even peeking this corner shooting through the choke. Rein's throwing his fire strikes. So it looks a little bit like no one's holding this choke, but you really are. They have to walk through hell to push through it, and that's what you want. And then Mei walls. If you wall somebody off, Lucio amps speed. Rein walks in swinging while Mei walks in freezing, and everyone kills whoever got cut off. Pretty standard play. If the wall doesn't work, then Mei, you can start backing up to here to these stairs to try to get to here because you don't want them to run on you. Or you can stay there to freeze, and Lucio, you can amp Rein in to pinch anyway. You choose this based on whether or not you think you can win a fight right now. If you feel like your heroes are stronger in a brawl than theirs, or just you have more of an advantage and you can win this fight, you pinch them right here, and they're being shot from every direction, and this is open space. They don't have cover. So this is your first kill box. Important term. A kill box is typically a low ground surrounded by high grounds that your team can shoot down into. So this is kill box 1. Whoop, wrong button. If you don't think you can take the fight yet, maybe Mei starts working her way up here. Rein, you can swing a little bit, but you're looking to back out to here, or even if it's too much damage coming your way, literally to flank through this way if you gotta to get back to point. Meanwhile, Diva and Kree are slowing them down, shooting them, they can start backing up these ways, wherever they gotta go. And you are looking to create Killbox 2 right here by surrounding it, and then Killbox 3 is the point. If you think of maps in these terms, it will make your rotations way easier. Find the kill boxes where you think you can potentially take fights, and then position where you want to be from one to the other as the enemy team tries to push through them. And basically what ends up happening is you do a bunch of damage. You don't get a pick, but you've worn them down some. You do a bunch of damage. You still haven't gotten picks, but you've worn them down even more. So now by the time they get to this point, if they've made it to the point, you've beat the shit out of them for a while. Without ultimates or just massively outplaying you, it's really hard for them to win this. Cool. Uh, actually bullying, yeah. Uh, Second point. Let's just do all this. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Okay. Second point. Again, like, I want to be clear here that this is to give you ideas. Oh, hey, Centiquilt. Um, and I feel like these are good generic positions, but you always have options, and this game is so situational. So, like, I want to be really clear that these are ideas and it's a process. It's not a verbatim, this is what you do. Okay? So, process here, how I would set this up. This stairway is a narrow choke, and this is the highest high ground. Teams usually like to push up here and take this, but they have to push through this tiny area to do it. So, I put Reinhardt here with May. Or maybe we put May on this side. May's still trying to go for a wall, wherever they happen to wall. And, you know, to freeze people for Reinhardt as they try to push out. Diva, you're going to hold the catwalk here, because you can always use your boosters to get back to your team. And here you're providing this off-angle pressure. And here you're bodyguarding your Kree, who can be poking out of these windows the whole time, can be poking this way, can shoot up here if they push out, etc. And then, like, Kree being up here is just really nice for shooting onto the point whenever anyone tries to touch the point. Whee! Okay. So we got Diva Kree, Rein May. I would put Bap here, obviously, because Bap's got a pocket Rein. And from here, he's above Diva, so he can heal Diva easily. Yep. Yeah, Hanamura. And then Lucio, rather than positioning with the Rein this time, I would actually put Lucio over here. And the reason I would put Lucio over here is Rein doesn't have to move very far. Rein's already where he wants to be to swing on them when they push through this choke. But if they choose to come this way, Diva can run away, but Kree's boned. So Lucio, you need to speed your Kree out somewhere safe if they choose to push you guys. And, like, you can boot people down or back or whatever. And you can always use your speed and mobility to get up here whenever the hell you want. And you can also be spamming out these windows and spamming down here and etc. So you've split your team into two. And what you're looking to do is called pinch. So again, we're assuming that the enemy team pushes through here. And I'll talk about other things they could do and why they're even worse. But they push through here, and now they have a choice. They go up this way, Lucio amps speed, and you guys come in behind, and you wreck them in this tiny room. They go the other way, and you three can walk to this corner and shoot them in the back or drop down onto them, while Diva can fly up here or wherever. Lucio and Kree can go wherever the hell they want. and just completely kite this push. So this push gets them nothing except control of this catwalk. They would have control of the catwalk by then, but you still have the high ground, so you're shooting them. It's still better for you. Uh, Splitting them like this makes it really hard for them to know what to do. Like, they don't have good options short of splitting themselves or using ultimates to try to get one half of you. So, it is highly important that you track ults and you watch out for things that could wreck you, and then try to avoid them or have counter ults to deal with them, like beat or Diva Bomb to zone them back, or Window to zone them back, or Mail. You get the idea. So from here, if they go low ground, who gives a fuck? You have both the high grounds. This is a kill box. Low ground surrounded by high grounds, you come here to die. Anyone that touches this point is boned. And like, Rein can always drop, Diva can fly in, and then, you know, your people are doing whatever the hell they want. Mei could drop, Kree's still shooting from up here, Bap's shooting from up here, Lucio's doing Lucio things. If they like TP strat or use mobility or whatever and they try to come coast, it's the same thing. They're still pushing, they still have to push the point and you still control the high grounds. They could come here and push you back, but then you can always kite back to your team, do whatever. So like, they don't really have great options. The way you beat this is, well, you got two options. If you just think that you're better, you can match them. You can send your Rein Mei Bap to deal with Rein Mei Bap and your Diva Kree Lucio to deal with their Diva Kree Lucio and just try to win two different 3v3s. It's not great, but it's a way. The other option is to try to out-rotate or maneuver one section of them so you yourself can rush onto them and kill them. If you can get on top of them, or if you can get past this wall, all six of you, and on top of them, then you can beat these three, and then you can beat the other three. So you're looking to take a 6v3 if you can get to them, which is why they're looking to avoid that, yeah, and kite back. And then option 3 is ults, and that's usually, with like high level teams, that's usually what it comes down to, is getting the ults off and getting them off better to try to like flip this in your favor. Rush and dive comps both give me life. So part of why I love this style of rush and why I think it's so fun is it's not Rein Zarya rush, it's not Deathball rush. It's some weird combination of rush, dive, and anti-dive. It plays for map control the way dive does, but you're not diving, generally speaking, you're counter diving, and you're rushing. It's just like aspects of all of them. Um, think in terms of map control a la dive, and your rush will work a lot better with this. Okay. I think. Okay. So again, that was just to give you ideas. That's kind of uh it in a nutshell. I get that like there's so much. There is so much, but that I hope is a really good starting point. But let me grab this. The other thing I wanted to talk about is how you can modify this based on whatever heroes you have. Let's go here. I love chaotic comps like Ball Hog. Oh, me too. They're super fun. Uh, I mean, at my ELO, people don't seem to like try for map control. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. The good news is the enemy team isn't going for map control either, and a single person in the entire lobby holding a high ground or holding an angle and like providing that pressure for their team is literally game changing. If there's only one person in the lobby doing it and it's you, you're going to win more games than the other side, for sure.